Hi there, this is Matt with State of Flex here with a review for Creed 3. But before I talk to you about that, I want to talk to you about something that one of my friends has developed. She has started a publishing company called Wandering Witch Publishing. Wandering Witch is a space for growth where imaginative thinkers come together to challenge perspectives by engaging with counterculture through magical realism and real magicalism. If you're interested in getting your work published, if you're writing poetry, short stories, novels, this is an alternative publishing company that you can use to get your stuff published. Or if you are a consumer that likes to read alternative forms of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, this is a place for you. But they need some help getting this upstart company up and started. So if you check down in the description box below, you will find a link to their GoFundMe page to help get them upstarted, as well as a link to their website. And you can read more. See if this is a place for you, either as a contributor or a consumer. But moving on to the review at hand, Creed 3 is a movie that happened to me. I'm a big fan of the Rocky franchise as well as the Creed franchise, and I think this is the weakest installment of the Creed films. Certainly not of the Rocky films, but of the Creed films, this one just lacked, I think. And that's disappointing because I thought the trailers were exceptional. And if you watch the trailers and whatnot, they didn't lie to you. That is what this movie's about. It just didn't. It was just kind of lackluster. And I think one of the biggest elements that didn't work for me was the fighting. The boxing in this film feels very staged. It lacked any kind of propulsion to it, and because of that, I didn't have any moment where I had any inkling as to an outcome being any different than it ultimately was, which is pretty disappointing. I think one of the strong aspects that came with Rocky Balboa forward is that the boxing in Rocky Balboa, Creed especially, and Creed 2 all had this kind of real weight to it that felt like you were watching a real boxing match. This felt like you were watching a film, but when you're sitting there watching a movie, recognizing you're watching a movie and thinking about how you're watching a movie, and even though some of these shots are very interesting in how they were accomplished, you're still seeing it as a movie and it's not enveloping you in the reality. And I think, like, if this had come out as if there was no Rocky Balboa Creed or Creed 2, I think it would have worked. It's more in line with what they did in the 80s movies, just more technically apt to modern sensibilities. But it's a problem, and it's one that I couldn't tear away. However, there isn't a ton of boxing in it. What you're left with is a somewhat engaging story about friendship lost between these two young people. You get more of an idea of Creed's backstory, which is touched upon in the earlier movies, where you're seeing that a little more fleshed out, and that's kind of interesting, but only kind of. Where this movie works best, and ultimately I do recommend this movie, I think it's a 3-star movie, but where it works best, and when it's working best, is when they're addressing family. Creed's daughter in this film, Creed's wife, Creed's mother, his relationship with those 3 individuals, and all the scenes that they share are strong. Some of those scenes are as strong as they have been in any of the Creed movies. And there's a scene between Creed and his mother that is powerful and evocative of scenes from some of those early Rocky movies that I really responded well to. And it got me emotionally hit. But unfortunately, that's not the core of what this film is. That's just another layer of the onion. And what this film really wants to be is kind of a reinterpretation of Rocky 3, and dramatically it might work better than Rocky 3 did, but at the same time it's not as fun as Rocky 3, and I didn't find myself caring as much because as good of an actor as Jonathan Majors is, he gives a great performance. His character just didn't work to me on a villainous level, and he just felt a little artificial, and I didn't care about him enough to have an impact on where this movie ultimately concludes with him. And he's not that engaging like the way Mr. T was. So in an effort to approximate Rocky 3, I think it falls short of Rocky 3, which isn't one of the great Rocky movies, in my opinion. So, I don't know. It's a good movie. It's worth your time. I think those family scenes are really quite good. Luckily, it ends with a cute little beat with the family. And if this is the end of the Creed franchise, it's a serviceable ending, but I don't think it justifies itself. The conclusion of Creed 2 feels like an end for both Rocky's entire journey, a meaningful end for Rocky's entire journey, as well as a meaningful end to Creed's journey. This just feels like an added-on morsel, and it's a serviceable morsel. It's not bad. It's just it's coming off of something that was more satisfying, which itself was also coming off of something that was better than it. So at this point, we're kind of having diminishing returns, and I am getting flashbacks to the Rocky franchise, where Rocky 1 is amazing, and Rocky 2 is really good, and then Rocky 3 is just good. I hope we don't enter into Rocky 4 territory. That's my least favorite of the bunch. So hopefully Creed 4 or whatever the spin-off is. I think the spin-off is actually going to be the next one in the Rocky verse is going to be Drago, so heavens. But we'll see. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. I've talked to a lot of people that love this movie. I've talked to 2 people who say it's the best Creed movie, and 1 person that thinks it's the best boxing movie ever made. I think they are an absolute insane person, and if you're watching, so. But let me know what you thought of in the comments down below. Also check out Wandering Witch Publishing, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and peace.